I got a million
Yeah,
of
I
them.
know.
We'll stop. We'll stop.
All right.
Up today.
No, sorry to inconvenience you. I had a McDonald's coffee coming in Refugio.
All right, well, thank you all. Good afternoon for being here. When we met, which was a little over 2 weeks ago, we left off letting you know that we needed some time to go back through some numbers and reevaluate some of the proposals that were on the table. Unless there's any preliminary matters that you want to take care of on the front end, we're ready to exchange at this point. We have a financial package to put forward.
Okay.
On the same condition that I put forward last time, which is, this is a package together. It's really not piecemealed. So if we're talking about one or the other, it could impact the rest that are remaining behind it. Let's see, how many do you got here? I forget.
8 of us.
8 of them. You guys got?
Lilia, before we get started, can I just give you, you sent Ron and I the extension.
Yes.
Here's our copy that Ron has signed in paper
Okay. I have
for her to sign.
No, she signed it.
I signed it.
Okay,
I have the
But I
copy.
that's all I had to print. I printed it out and scanned it to her, and
Okay.
she signed on her end. So if you just want to,
I brought a both sign there.
Perfect.
Yeah. So we're good until September 2nd.
yeah.
So Scott, rather than spending a lot of time having you flip page by page by page, I'll just get up front with it so we can move forward.
Okay.
The first 2 items are the wage proposal and the healthcare proposal.
Okay.
Those are the 2 that have changed. Everything else that we provided the last time, it's in there for reference, but it's remained the same.
Okay.
The other 2 additional items that are at the very end were an acceptance, again, with the condition that this is a package proposal, of the increase of the association hours and the donation of excess hours into the sick leave pool upon termination
Okay.
or departure of employment. Those 2 you will find at the end. Other than that, we're really looking at the first 2 proposals that are in there.
Does your healthcare proposal have co-insurance in network?
Co-insurance and network. What do you,
Well, because it
percentage?
says physician services, subject deductible, then 100% coverage. Yet you go to the next page and says out-of-pocket cost, $5,000 per individual, excluding copays and deductibles, $10,000 max family.
It should be, turn the page. It should be closed down. That should be removed.
but no 80, 20, 50%.
It should have
after the
been,
fund.
it should have been added on there. So that's not this one.
So it should be 80. It is the co-insurance. Yeah, it is the co-insurance, so that's a typo on it.
And also, everything on the front page of the healthcare is 80/20.
Up to the 5,000
Right.
out-of-pocket max.
You're talking about throughout? Should have been 80/20.
Because we have the out-of-pocket max now.
Okay, so we need to
So
go to
it's
the other.
20. They pay 80% of the cost up to that max, and then it goes to 100% at that point.
All right, we can make that change.
Okay, I just want to follow up on your longevity language. The $8 per month for each year of service. This pay rate shall not be retroactive. And I think we talked about this before. And I just want to get clarity as to what you mean by that.
Okay, my simplest example is using the 10-year officer.
Okay.
So today, that 10-year officer is receiving $60 a month, correct? Because right now, we're at $6 a month for the first 10
6.4.
years. Okay. From the date this contract is signed, moving forward, there is retroactivity in the sense that we're going to count those years. So we're not going from $60 to $68. We're going from $60 to $80, but we're not going back and accounting as if from day one, it would have been $8. You know, so really, it's just moving forward, next check, or next month, it should be $80.
You're not going to, so when you're saying it's not retroactive, you're not going to make up that difference of the $20?
As if it had been $8 the entire time
Okay.
from day one.
Of their career.
Right.
It's
So
just
you account
effective
for the
that date.
longevity in years of service, but not going back to recalculate that. That makes sense. And maybe we can add to that and make it a little clearer there. I'm not opposed to that.
Ron, you have anything?
Well, you have 3 TAs in there. Did you see those? They're in that packet.
Yeah, but it's all, everything in here is contingent upon a package agreement, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I just put it in, I don't know if I just put y'all's proposal back on, or if it's not really a counter, so I figured I'm just going to put it in that form of
No, it's fine. I get it.
positively anticipating
I understand.
getting somewhere together.
Okay. Does anybody from the team have any questions?
Yes, on the last page, of course, any police officer who has accrued sick time in excess of what the police officer would be paid, and so on and so on. So you're saying that we can now donate excess sick leave to a full?
Upon separation of, beyond what we will pay out on, at termination. So depending on that other part of the contract. If you have hours in excess of you've already been paid the max you can be paid, and Scott had brought up that there's a few guys who have had excess hours that really just lose them. We're agreeing to your proposal that that could be donated into the sick leave pool.
Anybody else? Okay, we've got... The what? Nah. We have one proposal. And I guess for sake of clarity, Lilia, I think we kind of discussed this, but I'm not sure if we finalized it. What is the date going to be for final proposals?
I thought we had talked last time about kind of trying to bring it forward the last meeting. You're talking about economic or non-economic? Both. I'd like to say we're closed, but I mean, I think maybe today, then. Let's just do today.
Okay.
Let's count that today as moving forward.
Okay, so on
Walk
this
us through
proposal, there was one grammatical correction in the first paragraph. And then you can see in blue the inserted language. It's concerning the assessment center and the way that the assessment center would be conducted. Thought process is that there would be two actors out of the assessors who would always be the actors, and then the assessors that would do the grading, where they would be continually grading, would be audio, video recorded, the process would be, so that the grading assessors could stop, and if one or more assessors had a disagreement, they could review the video, go through the process where the arguing, quote, assessor could say, well, I graded this person this way because of what they said right here. Gives you the opportunity to review the video, audio, so that everybody's on the same page. Previously, there's been some concern expressed where participants in the assessment center are answering a question or conducting a function during the assessment, and the assessors are taking notes, so there's focus on taking notes and not always hearing what's being said. But with this audio-video process, you could review it, and then that also gives the candidate the ability, the assessors, to grade and give the candidate feedback based on what's done from the video.
Okay. So currently, there's, we're
Still
talking about adding-
6, yes.
Okay. To go back and get that. So the concern has been that an individual's having to sort of do multiple jobs at one time.
Right. Just separating, their senses with listening and grading and taking, and then making notes at the same time. Where if it's video recorded with the audio, the assessors get to watch it, take notes, watch the actual interview, but then have the audio and video to go back and review anything maybe they made a note about, or if an assessor said, well, I saw it this way, and another one said, no, I saw it this way, they can go right back to the audio, video, and be on the same page.
Okay. Very good. Chief, do you have any direct questions on that, or operationally?
This kind of thing, if it would limit, the city contracts out for assessment companies, and different assessment companies assess differently. I know what you're saying, but kind of know. I don't know where you're talking about the actor's sole responsibility, because I've done video assessments, and the video assessments is not an actor and a grader. It's, if you're reviewing video, all the assessors review. There's usually 3 assessors at a table with a 4th being a sit-out, and all 3 of them review it. There's not so much an actor or a grader. So I'm not...
I don't disagree with you, Chief. So if there was a role-playing incident,
Okay.
what our focus is that the actor is the same in the role-playing, so that the candidates have the same actor in the role-playing all the time, where in this room it's this person, but in that room you don't get the same thing that way. That was our concern.
I guess we've had the same assessing company for how long? Over 30 plus years, yeah. And so you're saying videotaping based on this one particular company, but if you had another company, you hired a different company, they might do things differently. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So-
We'll look at it and take that
Yeah,
and see if that's something that we can incorporate. I'm assuming if it, does it go out for RFP? I don't know, we can,
Yeah.
okay. It does? Okay. Okay, we'll take that under advisement. We'll look at that. At least we've got a clearer picture of what you're
Right,
talking about, though, so I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Are there any others at this time
Anything else?
on this end?
I think what we're going to do is caucus,
Okay.
start kind of going through this, and then we'll let you know when we're ready.
Okay.
Okay?
I have a quick question. Scott, do you anticipate new economic proposals coming back today?
No, but just for the sake of clarity, I've got a checklist, Steve, and it's been so long since we've met. I need to go through that and just make sure I haven't missed something, and then agree to close the date and go, uh-oh, I missed that. I don't want to do that. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Scott, I'm gonna... simpler way of doing it and environmentally friendly, and I actually like
How long
it.
did you want to wait while
No,
I went in there and retyped
I
it?
actually appreciate that.
Because, all right. What we'll try to do, and we've had an internal discussion, we got 20 people and 20 different opinions, but what we'd like to try to do is shape the discussion down, and there's really 2 big connected things. So the team, we withdrew some things. We accepted the city's position on some of the financials, and I think on certificate pay we countered, and I'll walk through them. But we think this is the foundation to get a deal. But and we know that health care and the pension are the 2 big kind of interconnected things on our end. If we cannot get there, then let's have an honest discussion that we can't get there from here, and we'll move on and deal with issues that we can agree on. But, so I'll just walk through, you can read them. Some of these things we're not a part, or the city, I don't know that we differ, but we had the holiday pay, which I think that y'all have agreed on. I'm not saying UTA, but some of these we have. Time off association business, I don't think we had a dispute. We raised it. We withdrew the on-call, or withdrawing it. Of course, all of this, like your proposal, is contingent upon a package, but if the pay was at 2, which was the city's last wage offer, and it was contingent upon your deal, well, this is contingent on our deal. Scott, you want to comment a little bit on the health care, and we'll talk about the pension?
So on the health care, it would be and I guess, let me start with it and then we'll qualify it. It would be our current consumer-driven plan with a mandatory migration, $2,700 deductible, individual, $5,400 for the family, no co-insurance. The same plan that we have right now, $1,800 HSA preloaded at the beginning of the planned year, and with no premiums, whether on dependent or employee. We would also like to see, what was the question we were discussing about the mandatory?
It's just me looking at this. But let's just say we agreed on the mandatory consumer-driven. I don't think there's any way, since we're already in open enrollment, that we're going to move 600 people and all of their families into mandatory out of the PPO while we're already in open enrollment. So, I mean, that's, and the second half of that is, once we make a decision and the group as a whole votes to do that, then we have an education process of which we have to explain to people who are in the PPO why they're going over and why it works for them, and this is what they're going to get. I fear that we just would be hard-pressed to do it. I mean, you mechanically could do it, but I think it's going to cause a lot of heartburn, and so I think there's a tie-in to maybe considering starting that mandatory drift in the second year, because I don't think we're already in open enrollment. I mean, now, if you think you could do it, but then it falls back on Scott and the association to try to figure out how to take several hundred people and their families and walk them through. So I think that's the only concern I have is if we were to migrate everyone over, what are we going to do now? People have already started signing up for plans, and so that would be my fear, is that I don't think we could do it without a mass amount of confusion.
I don't disagree with that assessment. We're under no, we understand that it's going to take time. I don't know that it's as severe as having to wait an entire year for it, but we agree that there's probably no way to get it in place by October 1. Now, we do believe that we could get this plan in place by January 1st. And so I think those are still minor details. I think we have to hammer out the plan itself, and then at that point, we can work through the final details to say when we're going to start it up. To a certain extent, we're in agreement that October 1 is too late for us to do anything.
Okay, all right. And that's all an assumption. So, anything else on that?
No, I think that was it.
All right. So, the FTO pay increase, I don't think that we had a disagreement. I think y'all had concurred, and that's just my note. We withdrew our education pay increase proposal. We think the tie-in on the pension, which is uniform service credit at 100% repeating and COLA at 30% repeating, is tied to the health insurance. Failure to be able to reach a deal on a new health plan, then we wouldn't be looking at changing the pension without something big to go back to people and say, here's a new health plan, this is the trade-off. I still think we can get a contract. I just don't think if we can't get the health care the way we need it, then we don't want to go back and tell people we reduce the COLA, but we don't have a health care fix. So that's really, I'm not tying a lot of other things, but I'm kind of tying those things together. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. So we countered on the accrued sick leave to the pool. Y'all didn't have a heartburn on that. We lowered the longevity to 1.5%. We appreciate the city raising the 6 to 8. We really, and the reason we're looking at also a lower across the board than what we proposed, that we think this is the tie-in for those officers who stay the longest. They're going to be able to get the recognition for that time increments. at 1.5 in 5-year increments. So we still feel like that is an important part of our not getting as much in across the board, but putting money into those senior spots and paying people. You know, they'll get a higher percentage. The people with no seniority, this is not going to be a benefit for them today, but over time, for those that stay and work here 25, 30 plus years, then they would get paid an increment for that.
I don't understand how that would not be a benefit today.
Well, if you only got 5 years on,
You're getting a 1.5% COLA.
yes, but as you milled up your years in 5-year increments. So, did I do it wrong?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But,
1.5 on your every 5-year anniversary.
yeah.
I just want to be clear. So
Yeah.
it would be a 1.5% COLA plus whatever wage proposal. So if we had agreed to a 2%, you're talking about 3.5% to that 5-year officer that they would receive right off the bat.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not minimal, it's not,
No, I'm saying, yeah,
Okay.
but the longer you've been here, the higher your wage is.
Right.
The
Going back to the retention issue that we
Yeah.
talked about before.
Yeah. The rest, the longevity, bomb squad, we can live with the city's proposal. And I know all these things are contingent, but I'm just saying. The shift differential, we've withdrawn our proposal. We're all right with the city's SWAT. I think the hostage negotiator and the dive team, those were all city agreement to increase. We took ours out. The certificate pay, this is a counter. It's a little above what the city proposed and a substantial drop on what we originally proposed. We appreciate having certificate pay get in there. We just think it has a little more value. We withdrew the bilingual pay request, and I think y'all already were okay with the military leave from about 20 people is increased in a year. Okay, so now there's a few other non-economic things that we didn't disagree on, changing the name of commander, and there were some other things that we had already agreed on, and we can take out the consolidation language.
Or revisit
We could
it.
revisit it and get it closer to yours as far as notice.
Yeah, I think a lot of the non-economic things, we just haven't even tackled yet. We've discussed and put them out there, but obviously the financial thing is where it's at. Once we get to
Right.
that, we can move through the other things rather rapidly.
I agree, and that's why I really hadn't brought it back up or brought it forward at this point. Yeah, but I agree. Those are still unresolved.
Do you want to caucus? You have a response?
I do have one thing that we talked about today being the final day on proposals, and we had met with Celeste on some internal affairs language that I think we kind of started to work on in our group, but we didn't get to do a formal proposal. I would ask that, I think we agreed today is pretty much the last day. If you just give us an exception to bring some language on that, because I just haven't had a chance to sit down with Celeste and work something out, knowing that there was some language, especially around the way a complaint is drawn up that we were trying to work through.
Okay.
That would be the only thing we would bring.
I think I would be okay with that so long as try to get it into the next meeting.
Okay.
And really, we're just talking about non-economical, operational issues at the next meeting. I'm talking what you're bringing forward.
Right.
No new economic proposals other than what we're working with here. But if
So
they're
are you
non-economical,
what we just gave you?
what we're working with here, then I'm okay with that, because I know
Okay.
you did bring that up, and we've had a discussion on it.
Right.
We haven't been able to get back to it. We can talk about that next
You may have
meeting.
even given
We gave our recommendations
Right.
moving forward. I know we
So
were
we're-
waiting
we're on the
Celeste
table,
with part
so
of
to
that.
speak, as
Right.
far as that goes.
Correct.
Okay.
We have an internal
Okay.
affairs proposal, or internal
Okay.
investigation proposal
Okay.
out there. So, okay.
So, yeah, it's going back. Let me have a question.
Okay.
So real quick, on the health insurance proposal, you made mention that this is strictly tied to the TMRS pension changes. That's not to say that you're still not open to some modifications in the health insurance proposal should we get creative and incentivize some other areas. Did I understand that correctly, or am I?
I think there's room for some modification. Our proposal from day one has been the plan, the CDHP plan that we have right now. Is it in stone? No. Is there room for some modification? Yes. But it depends on how severe and what the trade-off is on the modification.
Okay.
Okay, well, we need some time to
All right,
caucus and see what we can come up
let
with.
us know.
About 2-3 minutes?
Are y'all's chairs have cushions back there?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I figured that's what.
Ready?
Yes.
All right. Well, we liked your format so much, I went ahead and worked off of the quick reference tool you gave us. So this is for y'all, and there's some attachments included that go with the healthcare counter. Hang on a second to represent. Things just got real weird. We don't have to use it as thunder? Yeah.
It always rains when
Yeah.
thunder.
That's what I'm saying, it's getting just weird.
it always rains when you come
It's
over here.
omen, you know?
You guys have to run out of magic because you didn't bring any this time.
Someone approves.
All I heard was, we're ready to TA.
HSA contribution, again, front-loaded at the beginning of the plan year.
Right.
Ron, you have any questions?
No.
Anybody have any questions?
The last page is that this is the statistics of unclaimed distribution by out-of-pocket expense grants. Is that just
Right, to show you how low of a percentage that most of your folks that are covered on the plan are actually reaching those thresholds.
And that's based on our plan that we currently have,
On your current utilization,
our members.
yes.
You good? We can go in caucus?
Sure. Need anything? Got sodas?
And we're out of water already.
Are you? Richard?
Oh, yeah.
Did you bring them some water? Yes, sir. We had to go get some extra.
Is this a counter?
Yes, it is. I offered you a TA earlier that you passed on.
TA.
No, it's, our counter's in blue. Yeah.
I colorized it a little bit.
Yes.
The highlight just reflects.
I just struck out. Those are ones we withdrew.
Okay.
So, and I had left one off on the supplemental insurance that we had withdrawn that
Just
too.
wanted to make sure you weren't withdrawing the withdrawal.
No.
Gotcha.
So then a green or the sticking? It's not on the longevity,
Yes.
or did y'all make any change, or we're
No.
sticking with the?
We remain the same on
You're
that.
remaining the same on it?
Yes.
So the change comes from in the wage in year one.
Correct.
Health insurance, that's what,
The deductible changed
The
in the,
deductible.
yes. In network, out of network, it remains the same as our current CDHP.
okay.
And then in
FTO
the,
citizen, and the certification,
yes, we just changed in the masterpiece
the
also.
masterpiece.
I need computers so I can see what it's
On the certification pay.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, on the certification pay, are you dropping the 75 and the 100?
No, no.
Or are you saying
We-
75, 100, 200?
Correct.
Yeah, we
Okay,
take
yeah.
first two,
Right.
I mean,
Just wanted to make sure.
it's,
I think it's under Article 7.
7 or 8, here, I've got it here. I marked it. I don't have a trigger word that
Close.
I marked it earlier.
I'm not sure I don't have it. So I misstate something.
There it is. It's in 7C, 13.
Lilia, just for clarification, we'll bring this in writing as we move forward, but we gave y'all a proposal under Article 7, subsection C, number 13. In the event of a critical incident, the employer or the employee's attorney or association representative shall schedule the employee's interview with the Criminal Investigation Division at a reasonable time within 72 hours from the time of the critical incident. We want to withdraw that proposal,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. Still pretty far and apart on a couple of big items.
Right.
You know, on the longevity, Scott, I'll just be upfront on that. That percentage is a killer. I mean, it's costly, even at the 1.5%. And I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I know it's somewhere roughly around 7 million.
7
And we've-
million over the life of the contract.
Right.
Okay.
And even the 12 is a significant amount, but we're, you know, and we felt like that was a, if, again, I'm gonna use my 10-year officer example, that's double, you know, $60 going to 120. You know, we felt that that was a pretty big move forward, and that percentage is it's just so costly. I don't know how we get, I don't know, we're just so far apart there. We're still so far apart.
I think there's room for movement. And I think working out of the box, I think we can really get pretty close. I know the percentage is a big number. I know the percentage compounds, and I know that's a concern of y'all's. But I think if we look at working out of the box, that there's a really, really good chance to get close to where we need to be.
All right. You don't want to get into this? No. Okay. All right, Scott. I think we probably need to go ahead and just set our next meeting up moving forward.
Okay.
I think we've kind of gone as far as we can go today.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like we're about 2 items there, you know, that
Right.
we still need to really work through.
Right.
Everything else, so we'll keep looking at. We want to talk about dates.
Sure.
Okay. For next week?
I'm bargaining, traveling every day next week. After that, I'm pretty open.
That's
I'm open the 3rd,
of Labor Day.
any, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, I'm open those dates. And I'm open the next week.
I can tell you right now, I know for sure, I'm having a procedure done on the 3rd, and they'll put me on the 3rd and 4th, but the 5th and 6th.
I'd
Should be
rather
fine.
the 5th than the 6th, but,
Oh, you weren't good to the 5th and the 6th?
no, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I'd just
Just saying.
rather a Thursday than a Friday.
Oh, okay,
But
so the
I'll
5th.
do whatever works for everyone.
How's the 5th look?
We have a council workshop,
Which day?
the 5th.
Potentially.
Yeah, it's potential, it's not, it's still tentative.
Are they in the morning?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, then we could do one if you want to do that.
On the 5th?
Or we could do 9, and then if you have it, we could just bump it to 1.
Move it to 1?
Just set it for the day and then let us know in advance. if
Okay.
you-
Is everyone else good on the 5th? Either 9 or 1 start date, depending on that. I'm fine on the 5th.
So I guess we'll lock in the 5th, but wait to hear from y'all as to what time as it gets closer. Is that fair?
Do you know,
We're probably not gonna know until the 29th of August.
It'll be fine. I mean,
Okay.
for me, I'll come in the day before, I'll drive up that day. You just let us know. You can let us know a day or so ahead, and
Oh, yeah.
say we'll start at 9, we start at 1, I'll be okay.
And we will need to do another 15-day pre and pass
Yeah, okay.
extension, because I think it ended on the 2nd. I'll get that
Of
to you.
September.
Yeah, I'll send that
just-
to y'all.
You can do that, and then
First thing
we'll
in the
get it
morning.
signed, that'll be fine.
Okay.
We're already into September.
Yeah, we have to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to lock in a second day, or?
No, we're gonna settle on the 5th.
Yeah, we'll finish the 5th, that's my
We're gonna be
birthday.
optimistic.
Is it?
Oh, happy birthday to
Optimistic.
us.
We're gonna give Keith a big
No,
old
that's-
Oh, we'll
present.
bring cake.
They may not give you any, but they're gonna bring cake.
We'll bring some.
All right.
All right. We'll set the 5th.
Okay, thank
All
y'all.
right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
You.